Do you know how to text or chat? With our current upgraded technologies, you can actually have a relationship with someone just by chatting with them. To be great with texting, you need to master the habits of a high-value person. Do you want to know what this is? If you want help with your texting habits, we are going to help you with that today. Texting has both positive and negative effects, depending on whether you use it to stay in touch or to stay out of awkward situations. In other words, depending on the underlying motivations of the people texting, the act of texting has the potential to either bind or drive people away. Researchers have found out that when it comes to relationships, it's not how frequently people text one another, but rather how text compatible they are. Additionally, scientists have shown that texting gives user a way to get away from their current circumstances in addition to being a useful form of communication. People prefer texting to conversing on the phone or in person because they find it to be a more effective means of expressing themselves or because they are bored. The danger is that texting can also end up being a burden. And when this occurs, it becomes a challenge to establish deep connections with others. Frequent texting might result from loneliness, further isolating and alienating the texter, which just makes the problem worse. How could you make the situation better? You use the strategies of the experts in texting. That's why I will teach how high-value people text. Number 9, they keep it brief. I'm sure most of you have experienced sending a text and receiving a novel-length response. You know what I'm talking about. You have to scroll down to the bottom of the text to finish reading it. This kind of text is not only irritating but also leaves a bad impression. While some people might think that sending lengthy texts is a good way to demonstrate how much they have to say, it actually has the opposite effect. No one wants to read a novel while trying to have a conversation. Avoid writing lengthy paragraphs since they come to seem as desperate for readers' attention and needy, especially if the subject matter is uninteresting. Keep it brief, pleasant, and direct. Number 8, they don't do mind games. Dirty mind games are a result of low value. They serve as a subtle means of attempting to manipulate or control the other individual. A high-value individual is self-assured and does not require mind tricks. They are also direct. If they need something, they will say so. This demonstrates respect for the other person and boosts the chances of receiving a favorable response. Playing mind games is a sort of emotional manipulation and is not a good technique to communicate or get what you want. Setting boundaries and being clear about what you will and will not tolerate is essential if you are in a relationship with someone who engages in mind games. You should not allow yourself to be used as a tool by someone trying to exert control over you. You deserve to be treated with respect. Number 7, they are not boring texters. A few things should be avoided if you wish to come across a high value in your text messages. Initially, resist the urge to be aggressive or dry. Give your text some personality. Nobody wants to read anything that seems like it was written by a robot. Next, avoid being boring. This doesn't imply that you must always send amusing one-liners, but your texts should be engaging enough to keep the reader's interest. Avoiding these texting mistakes will help you come out as confident and attractive. Number 6, they text with a purpose. High-value people always have a purpose when they are texting, which you'll notice. Texting isn't just being done for the sake of texting. Whether it's to confirm plans, inquiring about how you're doing, or simply say hello, every text has a purpose. Conversations become more meaningful and aid in developing stronger bonds when texts are sent with a purpose. For the majority of individuals, dull and pointless texts are a big turnoff. Therefore, if you want to impress someone, ensure that every text has a purpose. Number 5, they reply in a timely manner. It's a misconception that you should wait a certain amount of time before replying to a text in order to appear cool or distant. But in reality, people who spend hours replying to a text are simply being disrespectful. In some circumstances, such as when you're attempting to attract someone's attention, this approach may work. But in general, it's ideal to reply to messages as soon as possible. A high-value person wouldn't act in such a way as to indicate they don't care about the other person or the conversation by taking too long to text back. Number 4, they don't text too often. Not texting excessively is one of a high-value person's texting behaviors. This is due to the fact that constant texting may be interpreted as a sign of insecurity or neediness. When you text someone excessively, it could appear like you're trying to steer the discussion or the relationship. It's essential to strike a balance between keeping in touch and allowing the other person space. Depending on the kind of connection you have with the other person, this rule might change. For instance, if you're in a long-distance relationship, you might need to text more frequently to stay in touch. Number 3, they don't always use texting to address their concerns. Have you ever been in a situation where you tried to negotiate a conflict or solve a problem over text but kept getting frustrated? If so, you're not the only one. To solve issues or negotiate, texting is ineffective. This is because it's challenging to convey tone and intention through writing, which leads to frequent misunderstandings. When individuals try to resolve issues or conflicts via text, they frequently make matters worse rather than better. So it's ideal to speak with someone in person or on the phone if you need to resolve a disagreement or address a problem. Number 2, they rarely use emojis. Emojis can help add personality to your communications and make them more interesting when used appropriately. However, using too many of them might come across as unprofessional or even childish. For instance, you might use an emoji to express joy or excitement, but you wouldn't want to do so when trying to be serious or professional. Therefore, it's crucial to only use emojis when necessary if you want to come across as sincere. Number 1, they don't respond in a single word. This is due to the fact that high-value individuals are aware that communication involves more than just exchanging words. It also entails building relationships with others. Using complex and captivating language is one technique to establish a connection. High-value individuals can express interest in the conversation and encourage the other person to continue speaking by using more complex words than just yes or no. Additionally, if they use more than one word, the other person is more likely to respond. So refrain from sending one-word replies when trying to connect with someone by messages. Instead, invest the time in crafting a response that conveys your interest in the discussion. These are the texting habits of a high-value person. If you do these things, you will be of high value too. We hope you got so many ideas from this video. What do you think about this topic? Do you agree with me too? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.